You're listening to the Business Communicators.
So we're not going to use the writing prompt book, but we did see a story that was posted. Gosh, I don't know which. I think it was PR Week. So PR Week had a headline, and it was talking about Zoom fatigue, and it posed a really interesting question. And so I want to share this out to you, and I want to hear your thoughts. So if you have any thoughts, comments, drop them in the notes below and the comments below. But the question for this week: is it time for the video call madness to end? Is it time for the video call madness to end? Hattie, I'm going to start with you.
I think I mentioned earlier before we started the call that I was listening to a radio program this morning, and it had a celebrity guest on, and he was talking about he started a new project, and he had as many as 45 Zoom calls scheduled in a day, and he said he was zoomed out. Now, my whole thought on that is, while the pandemic made it easier for us to meet using, Zoom and Microsoft Teams, I think some of it did get out of hand. But I put that sometimes on the owner, because we need to be a little bit accountable about how we prioritize our time. You have 45 Zoom calls. Did you actually have to have every single call on that day? No, you probably didn't, but you went along with it. Sometimes we can create some of the madness for ourselves because we don't know how to say no. And so my thought is, it's not limit your calls, prioritize, what you're calling about and those kinds of things. Because that's what I do. If I don't want to talk to you, or if I don't have the time to do that, I'm going to prioritize. It's no different from if you're sitting at work, you go into 55 meetings and you can't get any work done because somebody scheduled a meeting within your thing. What do? You block out stuff on your calendar so you can get some work done, don't you?
Yep.
That's what you do.
Yep. I think that's incredibly important, Hattie. And my take on this is, one, I think people have too many meetings. I don't think you need a 30-minute meeting. You can get it done in 15 minutes. Most of the time you can get it done in an email conversation or Teams chat or something like that. But I don't understand why you have to keep doing video calls, because I think we're focused on productivity and making sure that we're being as productive as possible. And sometimes if you are not actively leading a call, you can still listen. But I think when you have your camera on, you can't multitask, right? There are certain things that you can't do. So that maybe puts you further behind on the day. So you're not being as productive as you could be. So yeah, I would say that I think it limits productivity being on video calls. Like, I think sometimes there's a time and a place for them, but does every call need to be a video call? No. I also think you need to set boundaries, as Hattie alluded to. Like, say no, know the value of your time. But I think if you're a business leader, consider setting up a policy. And this is something that Hattie and I's old company, BP, did well during the pandemic. I don't know if they still do this, but they had a rule, at least in our team, that you couldn't have any meetings scheduled between 11 and 1 during the lunch hour. So you could use that time to go to lunch, run errands, work on things. And it was great to have that 2-hour block during the middle of the day. And I think more companies should do something similar, at least while you're working remotely. So Thomas, what's your take on this? Are video calls done, or do you love them?
Too much of a good thing is a bad thing, in all facets of life. I think back to the meeting, to this T-shirt, coffee mug, another damn meeting that should have been an email. And then when you 45 Zoom calls in a day, I'm sitting there trying to do the math in my head. And I'm like, if he's doing 15-minute calls, he's doing Zoom for 11 plus hours. If they're 30 minutes, the guy doesn't sleep. So I think that guy might be exaggerating just a little bit, just for the sake of it, or he's doing the cardinal sin and he's got like 3 Zoom calls going on at the same time, which then he's being highly ineffective for all 3 of them, all the way around. I think there's a time and place for being able to look someone in the eyes and to say, hey, what's going on? We need to do this, X, Y, Z. The flybys when your boss used to show up at your desk saying, where do we stand on X, Y, Z, making sure that you really are where you're supposed to be. But to Austin's point, there's certain meetings that why have the video on? You should just be listening. You're a passive participant in the meeting. A town hall meeting. Well, not town hall meetings. We pay attention to all our town hall meetings. But things that you're just there just to understand what's going on. I think the podcast is a beautiful thing because while we do record video and we show it on YouTube, you can actually get the same information while driving to work, listening to NPR. Even though we're way more engaging than NPR. We've proven that too. We've proven that too when we pulled it up on the LinkedIn page that more people engage with our content than NPR.
Yeah.
The following count doesn't matter. But to the point is we give our listeners the opportunity to engage and consume how they want to engage and consume. On the Zoom call, if your camera's on, you can't multitask.
You've been listening to the Business Communicators.